Yeah, nice logo, right? OK. All these talks were amazing, but I think there's still a looming question that is still kind of unanswered. And that's, what's next? Where do we go from here? And at least I can share where I'm going next. Because in addition to focusing on my new mission at Robinhood, I actually have something new to share. I've been working on a project with one of my closest collaborators for the last 7 months. It's my most ambitious project yet. In fact, I expect to be working on this project for decades. It's not ready yet. We're looking at an initial launch at the end of next month. But I was thinking maybe I could give you all an early look. What do you think? Do you want to see? Yeah. We're calling it Project Parent. That's right. Terrifying but true. I'm going to be a dad. Sorry to get all your hopes up. Nobody cares about this as much as I do. Really, I just wanted to put this up beyond my own vanity, that I wanted to give some explanation of when people are like, hey, what's going on? Like, why has Lee not been contributing to any of the projects for the last few months? It's because I'll have been not sleeping and, up to here and you know what. And a couple of years ago, I would be kind of terrified to say that because a lot of what was happening in GraphQL, I had my hands totally deep in. But now, actually, I think this is the best time for me to take a little bit of a half step backwards because so many of the primary drivers of GraphQL are not me, not at Facebook. They're Prisma, they're Apollo, they're all of you. They're this open source effort. It's this community. It's amazing. This is not like one team building all this stuff. Every once in a while it says, when's the official version of this thing coming out? It's like, what does that even mean? What's the official version? Everyone's contributing to this. That makes me super excited. And in fact, I think that what we should be focusing on next, we've already talked about a couple times today, and that's investing in our tools. Because if we go back to this master plan that I talked about at the beginning of the day, here's where I think that my plan was most wrong. Tools have proven to be, first of all, way more important than I thought. I knew they were going to be important, but they've turned out to be even more so. And they've also proven to be way harder to build and taken a lot more time. So I think that the best way that we can all help each other, help grow this community, is by continuing to invest in those tools. So I just want to hammer that point. And I think a really important aspect of this that Nick spoke about in the keynote this morning is about providing better tools for server-side engineers. So super excited to hear about the new version of Apollo Server, which helps to do that. Even though it's only in JavaScript, I want to see something like that in every possible language. We're just nowhere close to that yet, and that's what we need to do to keep this community growing. But I think my biggest takeaway from today is actually how much the community has grown and how broad we all are and how far away people have traveled. I've met people from all over the world that have come together here in Berlin to talk about GraphQL. That's amazing. And I hope that we can keep these conversations going because, these conferences happen every once in a while, and that's great. But there's actually, I just loaded this up today on meetup.com. There's 85 meetup groups around the world that discuss GraphQL. That's nuts. That means somewhere much closer to Berlin, unless you live here, there's a meetup that talks about this stuff regularly. Go, join, present. And there's other larger conferences like this one coming up. So there's GraphQL Finland, which is on October 18th. So if you're in Europe, check that one out. There's also GraphQL Summit, which is in San Francisco later in the year on November 7th. So I want to keep these conversations going, and I want to hear more voices. This community is huge, and a lot of people have been up on stage today. I've seen up on stage before. I want to hear more voices. I want to hear more stories. I want to hear from all of you about what you're building and what's interesting about that. So make sure that happens. And putting on conferences like this isn't easy. So before we all go, I want to make sure that we thank some important people. First, can we have a round of applause for all of the sponsors of this conference? And also, I want to acknowledge just how much time and energy and effort it takes to put together these slide decks and talk to all of you. It's a huge investment. It's usually on top of people's job responsibilities. So can we put a round of applause together for all of our awesome speakers today? And then finally, I want to thank our organizers at Honey Pot and Prisma, especially Kate and Nicholas, because none of us would be here if it weren't for them. And in fact, before we give a round of applause, I actually want to invite them up on the stage so you all can see who they are. So we'll let them come on up. Yeah, you can applause as they come. Come on up, everyone.
Test, test. OK, now it's on.
Yeah, so thank you guys for such an awesome day. We had a challenging start, but I think we got over it pretty quick. We also, as the organizers, want to say a huge thank you to all of you for coming, and a huge thank you to all of the speakers as well for the inspiring talks. We want to note out two speakers in particular who really got over some technical difficulties at the start. So Nick and Leanne, if you guys could come up to stage, we have a small Berlin present for you guys. And of course, our thank yous, our thank yous definitely wouldn't be complete without a huge, huge thank you to Lee. We also have a very special present for you. So make sure you catch the speakers at the party and ask them exactly what the presents were, so you can, find out. As a closing, I'll leave it to our wonderful MC, and thank you again so much.
The fun doesn't end here. The whole point that we're here isn't to just sit here and watch people talk. That's, of course, awesome, but we could have stayed home and watched these on YouTube to do that, right? The whole reason we're here is that we get to talk to each other. So we shouldn't stop now. We should keep this going. So who's excited for the after party tonight? Yeah. I know I am. Yeah. So the after party starts in, I think, like half an hour. It's pretty soon. It's at Music in Frieden. It's around the corner. I think it's like a 7-minute walk. If you have a silver wristband, make sure you wear that. That gets you free drinks. So, who doesn't like free drinks? And then if you get lost, don't worry. There's a giant bear mascot, so I understand, from Honey Pot that's going to lead us in the right direction. So if you see the bear mascot, follow the bear. The bear leads the party. All right, everybody. With that, I want to wrap things up. In just a short time, GraphQL has gone from how things were built at Facebook to how things were built by a ton of people. And today has been clear proof of that. And watching it grow has been so exciting for me. And I can't wait to see what we all build together next. Thanks, everyone.